Welcome, 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 and kind of adios to the end of 2025. This is the last episode of Selective Ignorance for the year. And of course, like most of your favorite pods, we are doing a recap of our full year. Because you know what we don't do over here? Seasons. 10 episodes? Absolutely not. You're getting it weekly, babe. And we've been giving it to you twice a week. Ooh, baby, horny, yes. It is your girl, Mandii B, and I'm super, 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 super excited to be doing this with my super producers. We got journalism Jayson
Gang.
coming straight out of Jersey. There's
I
a
don't like
lot
that you
of J's
publicize
there.
that.
A lot
Straight out
of
of Jersey.
a lot of J's there. A lot of J's there. And then, of course, we have podcast OG legend, Sir A. King.
That's right. That's
What
right.
it do? What
Kingsley.
it do?
He's been knighted. That man's been knighted.
Yep.
Yo, you be slaying some slick shit during the intro, and I feel like I'm part of G Unit, where I just gotta ride it and be on board, and your beef is mine.
That is crazy. First off, I don't think what does that mean? Wait. Did 50 Cent ever slight Yayo or Lloyd Banks?
No, I'm saying we just have to ride with it.
Oh,
Like it,
okay,
yeah,
you're right. Yeah,
we have to be
choice.
soldiers.
You have no choice. You have no choice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. My beef is your beef.
Yes, we're drafted into it.
But you know what?
That's why leading into it, you got to kind of mellow her out before anything get crazy. So then once we get there, it's like, all right, cool. We level headed now.
Yeah.
We don't have to just jump out. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny because I was gonna say, luckily this year I didn't have much beef, but that would be a lie. You know what? It wasn't beef. It was the science made impossible beef. It was all fake beef. I didn't have beef actually with anybody this year. If you ask me, I clearly had opinions which were shared heavily on this podcast over the year about a whole lot of things. And I'm really excited to be going into another year, bringing new things, new waves. One of the things that Jayson brought up in the group chat was the fact that this pod in its first kind of full year, well, let me see, what episode are we on? This is episode 42. So technically, we're still not at a complete full year. It's 52 episodes, right? A King that make like
that's. I mean, yes, we're going by the calendar year. It's 52.
52.
Week, yep.
Well, this is episode technically 44. And so
I mean, if you really want to be technical, if you add the bonus episodes that we put out bonus content, we've been doing a year's worth of content in a shorter amount of time.
You're right.
You podcasters out there.
We have done that. But Jayson mentioned that this pod has went through technically 3 renditions of a show.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to talk a little bit to that. For anyone who's listening, who's a podcast consumer or just a podcast nerd and likes to dissect how new shows are doing things or what the podcast landscape looks like for the creators, I kind of wanted to get into this before we all share our thoughts on the Netflix, iHeart, Charlemagne deal that just got announced. But Jayson, in your mind, what are the 3 renditions that this show over 44 episodes has kind of shape-shifted to be?
Yeah, so I think version 1 was kind of a high concept, right? Like you had your like sort of like a targeted word, and everything was built around that, whether it's like privilege, patriarchy, fat shaming, biological clock, right?
Yes.
And then sort of the ignorance applied to it was the question mark at the end about it, right? And
wait, you're right. Even our episode titles, we wanted to be questions.
Yeah.
And that's changed since then.
Yeah. But I think that got you like leaning into like the original thing that you wanted to do, whereas like these topics that you wanted to tackle that were different than decisions, right?
Yes.
And then I think we got into version 2, which was a bit more like interview based. And I think with version 1, it was very much like, what's your take on this topic? Like against like my mind, Mandi's,
against my opinion.
Once you set this like table like really hard, like, and this is where I stand and I'm not budging. And so I think version 2 became a bit more like interview based, where it was kind of like I'm asking you questions and less like your like takes and kind of just who you are, what you feel about a certain topic. I think like the most pronounced one of that was like when we did who were we talking about when we had Rocky on and we were talking about like things
Corporate.
corporate, yeah,
Yeah.
like corporate and their experiences, right? And so we were like booking specific people to
We were,
speak to like
yes.
your background
Specific
and that.
topics. Yep.
Yeah, and I think the third version, I think you felt, and I think with the second version, uh, we were getting less you, right?
Yeah.
Like
And
out
the
of it.
second version, I realized too, like, we were going away from what I
Yeah, but
originally
also
said.
you were being like a very polished host. You were serving your guests and asking them questions and kind of like teeing them up. And but I remember we had a talk and you were like, yo, I like these podcasts, and you rattled off a few of them and you were like, yo, I want it where it's more like I'm talking to y'all. We could have a guest or not, but if we do, they're folding into what we're doing already instead of like you interviewing them.
And
And I
that's
think
when I had the conversation where I was like, yo, making sure we get guests every week and asking people to pull up.
yeah.
I said, God damn it, I don't really like that. So I said, I had a talk with Jayson and A King, and I was like, y'all are both so strong and opinionated when we do pre-production, when we're in our group chat, when we just talk as friends. I said, I need more from y'all. I said, come in. I said, don't be afraid to get on the mic and share your opinion. I said, I want y'all to debate me, question my thoughts, but I would
And then
love.
we kind of didn't for the first couple episodes. I remember you were like, "Yo, y'all aren't doing it."
I said, y'all aren't doing what I asked. And then I think we got kind of a bit more comfortable. I
Yeah.
think we hit our big stride in New York together. And I realized I can't wait to get rich and have the budget to fly Jayson down to Atlanta a couple times a month. But yeah, then we got to that. And I feel confident with where we're at now. I also love leaning into our segments, the double
Yeah.
down or take it back. We know we may or may not do that, but we know that I'm going to start the episode off with one of us talking about something ignorant we did for the week or a thought we had. That becomes like kind of an icebreaker and way to catch up with each other. And then we have, ironically, if you're not in Atlanta, our segments are the segments that I created for my radio show here. So this is America, which allows me to lean into what the fuck is happening in our country politically. And then celebrities say the darndest things allows us to dive into pop culture. By the way, A King, I was about to say delve, but I know how much you hate that word.
I had that one, complexities,
Y'all don't even know.
Is Delve a podcast word that's like
No,
overused?
delve is apparently what
Mhm.
AI likes to put into everyone's description. So, guys,
Yeah.
if you go into a podcast and read their description of the episode, the word delve is in
It's
there.
Delve. That's like it's not the M dash because I'm a
No,
writer and I use M dashes and they try to say that's AI. That ain't it. It's Delve then.
delve is the word that AI will throw up in there. But yeah, like, so I'm really excited on the rendition that we have now. I like my my super producers leaning into this thing. And to be fair, Jayson, we might kind of be leaning into a 3.5 version by having Ja now weekly.
Yeah.
If you aren't on Patreon, if you haven't been listening to the bonus episodes, it's been announced that Ja will now be a co-host on the show once a week, at least for at least the first quarter of
He's getting a run.
2026. I know that I've been talking to you guys in the Discord, and they like him. They like y'all. I mean, not that I'm surprised. You know what I mean? Like y'all are all right. Y'all are all right. They like him, and they like y'all a lot better than some of the other guests we've had this year. And we can talk about that too in a little bit. But before we do, we live, eat, breathe this industry. And
Yeah.
so even though I got to talk about it on the class assembly with quite a few of you, I wanted to end the year off with our predictions on the direction of the podcast industry, as well as our thoughts, views, and such on this Netflix iHeart podcast, this Netflix volume deal, this Charlemagne $200 million contract renewal. And so how do y'all want to start it? Because first off, if you could insert here a king the applause, Charlemagne has this podcast on his Black Effect network over at the iHeart podcast group. And so I'm I'm gonna tell you now, Charlemagne better be knocking on my door this year to bring this show to motherfucking Netflix.
I need a book, Charlotte. I need a book.
Listen,
There we
it's
go.
either this show, decisions. I don't mind. I'm excited to get our set next year and really hone in on what this platform is. But I would love for you to, since you weren't on the class assembly, to share your thoughts about what this means for the industry, a king, any kind of insider tea you have.
Yeah.
And Jayson, just also as someone who's been in, also who has grown with the industry. You've
Yeah.
been one that hasn't been shy. You're like, I'm not just
Yeah.
staying a journalist that writes for print. I'm going to learn how to do every element of this media scale and be involved with how it's changing. So, a king, you go first, and then Jayson.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that I think it's just we should be looking in 2027 right now, right? I think these conversations didn't just happen yesterday. You know,
Right.
this is just the the finalization of it, right? I think these conversations. I remember I was having. I won't give too much insider stuff, but I remember I was in a meeting and they were talking about this Netflix stuff for about over a year. That
Okay.
Netflix had the intentions to get into pod space, and it wasn't until more recently they revealed that their intention of dropping 52 or whatever the number was to start off 2020, to start of 2026, and so then the flurry of announcements came, iHeart, you
Yes.
know, and then everybody else, and then it was like, wow, this is the possibilities, right? And I believe I don't know what the particulars are for necessarily the Breakfast Club deal, but I know they had wanted to do one-offs, like one season, license the video of the podcast for one year,
Yeah.
and then kind of open up the portal, right? What I'm curious to see is how Netflix continue to go and bat for bat with YouTube. You know what I'm saying? And see if they're going to
Yeah.
do original content, which I'm assuming they will because they do original movies, right? But I think that we should be looking at 2027. What's next? Is Peacock or somebody else gonna be a thing? Is it
Valid.
yeah or Hulu? I know Amazon has their thing, but
I mean,
yeah,
I
but
think
we'll see.
Peacock would make sense, especially considering the amount of reality television that they have over there. There's a large portion of unscripted, which essentially is what podcasting is, right?
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing too more is that people don't want to call podcasts anymore. They're
That part.
shows.
Yeah.
And it's because they're full level at this point productions. We are paying into video, audio. There's teams that have we're pushing out clips, and I want to have that conversation too right after I hear Jayson's thoughts on this. But yeah, how do you see this shifting the landscape of podcasting moving forward?
Yeah, so I don't know. So, I don't know if it's like that much of a seismic shift
Okay.
for podcasting. I think so in like the media business, as it's converging with the technology business, we kind of like seen this in the past where it's like YouTube in the past created like these like multi-channel networks, and that's how you had like the one with Rockefeller and Rock Nation. What was it called? Life and Times with Jay-Z, right? Where that was like funded. That was essentially funded by YouTube. And
Okay.
and then Facebook did the same thing with like Facebook Watch, and that's how you got like Red Table Talk. So it's like they shell out money for themselves, and it's really kind of like the industry of themselves rather than like the industry that they're partnering with. And I think with Netflix, Netflix's co-CEO Ted Sarandos, he's very sharp, and he says like we're competing with anything that draws attention. So rather than YouTube's the biggest one, but he's also competing with TikTok. He's also competing with general cable. Books aren't the same, but like, anything that kind of like draws your attention. And, podcasts are cheaper to deal with than like getting scripted shows, right?
Yes.
And so I think what's happening is when you have like the conversation about like video podcasting and you see like the trade magazines and the Hollywood Reporter doing a cover story about like, video podcasts, a lot of that is like celebrity based. Like Amy Poehler is probably like in a lot of ways like the podcaster of the year, and her show's not really a podcast; it's a show,
It's
right?
a
Like
show.
it's an interview show, and so I think like with the Netflix deal, they'll pull in like the big names because the big names don't need discoverability anymore, right? They already have this audience,
Mhm.
and the audience will go there. And so this is
Yes,
my point.
yes, no.
So this is my point about. Let me land this part, Manny, and then I want to hear your response. But I think for the industry, it creates an opportunity for as those people exit YouTube to like now YouTube. There's just space there. There's a sandlot that's open, and you can kind of set up shop there because I mean Google has a discoverability and virality that happens there in that ecosystem in a way that Netflix can't. And
Right.
if it's going to happen at Netflix, it'll be because somebody is ripping it and posting it on Instagram or YouTube anyway, where it's like natively it'll happen on YouTube. And that's why a lot of those projects that got, and I'll call them projects to kind of like be the see-through, that they got picked up through Netflix is really their success in the way it was engineered through Google's algorithms. And so I think the opportunity is for people, you could say goodbye to the shows that are leaving YouTube. And now it's all this kind of like landscape for somebody to get busy in the spaces, especially in those categories that are of shows that are leaving. You can just jump right in there and hopefully do your thing.
Do you think that
like the mid-size shows that
do you
can kind
think
of
that
like shoot
these
up?
shows being on Netflix will bring audio listeners to the podcast? Because that's the thing. Both of my shows still get more views heavily audio, right? And so when
Yeah.
you have the
Which I
haters,
find fascinating. I love talking about that with you.
yeah, and I'm gonna call them the haters because they're the people that create these YouTube channels to talk about podcasts, right? But
Yeah.
essentially, the number one thing that has said about me and my shows is they go to the YouTube to look at the numbers there to kind of think that that's
Yeah.
the big pie of my shows, and it's not.
It's
Like,
a whole different business. It's a
yeah,
whole different business. When we
video's
had
a whole different business.
who was the brother we had on? He was from Baltimore. I think his name was Jay something. I forget. It was a good episode too. I didn't write it for my best episodes, but he's from Baltimore and he was a YouTuber. And we had him on a
Ooh,
guest, and he was talking. I think it was like relationships. When one of y'all are talking, I'll look it
from
up.
Baltimore.
He's from,
It wasn't Ace Metaphor, right?
No,
yes.
oh wait,
Is it Ace?
Ace Metaphor is absolutely from Ohio, Dayton,
Oh, Ohio.
Sir.
My fault.
His name doesn't start with a J.
Yeah, my fault.
You were,
I had that completely off.
you were yes.
But
Another form of me would have been like same thing, but I'm not gonna do that because I don't want
yeah,
no problems.
but he
with Ohio,
but he's more of a YouTuber than a podcaster, right? And
Well,
like you're
no,
more of a
that's-
podcaster
no.
than a YouTuber
His
because
show
but they're different businesses.
But no, his show is not on YouTube.
Okay, then we have the wrong person.
No, his show is not on YouTube. He created
Hold
a
on.
full subscription app. So tonight's conversations
Oh, it's
is
not him.
an app where his shows exist.
Okay, it
And
wasn't
then-
him then. Hold on, let me find out who it was.
Yeah, no, it definitely wasn't him.
This dude was definitely Baltimore then, because I'm usually not that off.
I ain't had many people on the show from Baltimore.
Hold on, who was it?
I don't know who you talking about.
So, but anyway, my
Jay
the
Hill?
point. Jay Hill. I knew it was
Jay
a J.
Hill,
See,
okay.
there we go.
Okay,
There we go.
okay,
I'm
okay.
journalism Jason. I got facts. So I knew it was Jay from
Okay.
Baltimore. But there, what he does and what you do are almost like two different businesses, right? And like
Yes.
the whole thing, like, and this will tie in like the Netflix, the YouTube, the Charlemagne, and like even like us going through different iterations of this show, right? Like there is an audio way to make money with sales partnerships, and so we launched this independently. This was
Yes.
independently out of Mandi's pocket. Which, listen, a lot of people listening.
Wait, hold on. Even with Black Effect, everything is still out of pocket.
Yeah, and so but before it was like out of pocket with no sales partnership. So it's like now you have a sales partnership.
Yes.
And with YouTube that doesn't really exist. Like you have to just scale and do their like programmatic partnerships that they already have. Like there's no options. Like you could have went with Black Effect. Well, listen, and be clear, when you launched, as soon as you launched this, by episode 3, people were calling.
Yeah.
Different businesses were calling,
Yep.
and you took meetings. There was different people. You could have picked any number of them to do a sales partnership. With YouTube, that doesn't really exist. You're beholden to the Google programmatic ad project, and so that's why you have to get numbers. And so when people look at your YouTube and be like, "Oh, well, her YouTube's not popping," listen, no, you have a sales partnership on your audio because you're in the audio business.
I'm in
because
the audio
you
business.
successfully have done this a number of times, right?
So I wanted to add to that just a bit because before we started recording, our clips have been doing extremely well on socials, right? So our clip with Glasses Malone, shout out to my cousin. He's also a part of the Black Effect Network. Someone who I wish lived closer. I actually would love to have glasses on once a quarter if I can, but that clip did over 1 million views. And so before we started recording, Jayson was like, hey, we have a clip with 1 million views. What did that do for the podcast? And I said, I mean, there's a lot of variables right now, but can't say it moved the needle much. And so there's also, when we talk about video podcasts, when we talk about the audio portion of podcasts, you also have essentially what the marketing is, which are the clips, right? And a lot of the people will say they watch the show when in fact all they do is watch the clips that get put out, right? And so there's so many creatives that wonder why they don't have a network deal, a sales partnership, or anything. And the number one thing a lot of podcasters like to do is bring their clips from their social channels and be like, but look, this has 250K, this has 100K, this has 1 million, this has 2 million. That does nothing in the grand scheme of how you can monetize or drop ads for a show based on your social clips. So
if there's no conversion,
if there's no conversion, and there's a lot. Go ahead, A King.
Yep. No, well, I think people, I think what we have to get to a place where what's the end game with the clips, right? Is it to bring awareness to the product? That should be the only goal. If you're able to monetize, however that looks, by way of other entities seeing that traction, seeing that motion, so to speak, then for all intents and purposes, it works. But there's a rhythm and rhyme and reason to doing those clips. It's not just we are intentional about the clips. We know the guests. We know the conversation. Obviously, that clip was talking about, Glass's assessment on Drake in 2025, right? So that's always going to draw the eye. Now, did I know it was going to do 1 million? No, but I knew the possibility to do something. You know what I mean? But
apparently, I'm also the only one who was bold enough to say that highest to lowest fucking sucked ass. And that clip is almost at 400,000. That
was a good clip. That was a really good clip.
But here's the thing: what I see is we foster community that way through conversation.
Yes.
Right? Because every day you wake up, you see the ticker is crazy. It's it's like nonstop, and that's not even us engaging. That's the people engaging with each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's a perfect example of how it should be done. This is just the Discord, but on Instagram, on the post.
Yeah, I agree.
In a lot of ways, it just gives you an opportunity, right? Like when you say awareness, it's like, because like the best case scenario, you want conversion. They see the clip, they go to the link in bio, but they leave the platform and they go subscribe. But that's a lot of friction to get off of one platform to another. But if you follow the Instagram, right, and then our next clip, we go from 1 million to then getting to 400,000, and now our floor is raised. We're then hoping to get small amounts of conversion along the way. But that's a challenge of like media and content business.
It is. A clip that freaking gets 1 million views, I'd be happy for that to convert to 10 new listeners. Like that is the numbers and the reality of what a clip can really bring you, I think, as a podcast audio platform. To be fair too, say I even get 10. Do they only listen to that episode, or do they subscribe and become a weekly listener? Like the retention of a podcast listener, it's really hard, even harder to get them to subscribe to a platform like Patreon, right? So I do, at the end of the year, want to thank all of my patrons who have been rocking with me. If you want to listen to the content ad-free, that's what we've been given over there this year, as well as once a month class assemblies where my classmates get to join me in a recording. Next year, I do plan to bring some more stuff to Patreon. I'm really excited. The team is growing. The investment is expensing. It's getting bigger. God damn it. I'm investing into this because I believe in it. And speaking of,
and kudos to you on that. Like even what we were saying earlier about like we're on like iteration 3. That's a very normal thing. That's what happens, right? Like if people are like, "Oh, Mandi's doing that," you're on 40 episodes, right? Like decisions is in the hundreds, right? Like
we almost, if we really add up decisions. We are at almost 300 on Patreon, and we are almost at 500 regular. So we
Yeah.
are approaching almost 1,000 episodes of content that we
And
have done in the last
I'm
couple of
sure
years.
many
Yes,
iterations, and but like now you're doing this in a landscape where like there's just so much competition. Again, to reference like the whole Netflix deal, the competition isn't even always podcasts,
yeah,
right? And so it's like all this stuff, and so like to be able to do this, like it's a gutsy thing that you kind of have to like really have the stomach for, and it's hard, man. I always say kudos to you. I have conversations with like a lot of different media professionals and people that I speak with, and like I'll reference this show more than like corporate stuff that I work on, because it's this is like a bird's eye view of like really trying to like build it and get it out the mud. And so that's why when we have the million view clip, we're like, yo, like like that shit was like on our own. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like there was no like dollars pushed towards that, like 100% organic engagement. And you know, it's like we've been building. There's not like data and a dashboard. Do we look to make decisions? It's guts, right? Like this is not the show I want to do. I want it more like this. All right, let's do it that way. Let's pivot this way then. You know,
Not only
and
that, I'm excited with the growth of this show on audio. A King just sent me the numbers over, and we're inching our way towards 100,000 downloads a month. Which, like, I think you sent me what it was like 70, then 90, or like we're close. Like I just want to
It's the organic process of this thing,
keep growing
and
it.
and I just want to add, if you look at all the great ones, there's never they the Combat Jack show went through 3 or 4 iterations.
yeah,
Even JBP, we've
JVP
seen.
went through about
I'm
5, 6.
talking about before it was J. I'm talking about before they had the name,
yeah. I'll
right?
name this later.
Look, right. So
Yes,
we're
I'll
talking
name this
about,
later.
because we're always trying to mold and trying to find the right thing, the right people, because we're not doing this alone. So that's another part of it, having the right synergy with the right people to execute this thing, you know, of greatness that we're trying to put out into the universe. So
Not
yeah,
only
hats
that,
off to you, man.
it is night and day. I released this horrible decisions in 2017. We didn't even have video until a year and a half later when we joined Loudspeakers Network. I launched See the Thing Is on a network on the JBN, left that after a year and completely got into a sales partnership with Gumball and did that for an additional 2 years. The landscape from
Insert
2017
cash register here.
2020 to 2025 when we launched this, those years are like night and day from releasing pods. So when I talk to people about even what it's like to launch and scale a show, this is my third iteration in a completely different market of navigating this space with a brand new show. So I've had a great time doing it. And I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to the show. Hope you enjoyed our geek out of the industry as well for the intro of this leading into the new year. But let's get into it. Let's get into our favorite episodes, our favorite moments, and why. I'm going to leave mine for last because I'm really excited to hear my super producers and their opinions on their favorite episode and why. So this time we're going to start with Jayson. Jayson, feel free to start with any memorable or moments that you still think need attention to, but then let us know your favorite
My
episode and why.
favorite. All right. So I kind of have like one from each. I have a couple. I have like 5 or 6 here on my notes.
Okay.
So ones are kind of from like each iteration. But like from iteration one, I really liked women in their biological clock.
Yes.
I thought you like hosting that was really well, and I thought you did a good job of balancing like, you know, giving it to your guests and kind of like serving them up, but also, you know, sharing your history and your
Which also
story.
was difficult. There were
Yeah.
3 women on there. Shout out to Killa B, Lex P, and Kiki. And everyone had their kind of different
Yeah,
things. So to fit that within, I think it was like an hour and 15 minutes. That too was one of like my favorite.
that was a good one. And then I thought Elements of Privilege was really dope with
Sid and Reezy.
yeah, I was late for that episode. I got punished, but I thought that one was like that. I thought that one kind of like helped us pivot into like version two. Still had like a lot of elements of the first version, but then kind of had the second one. then when it kind of got like interviewee, I like the alligator Alcatraz with your mom's.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I thought I know your mom has been on like other podcasts of yours, but like that was my first time really kind of like being a part and seeing her and you and your connection and you being able to treat her like a mom, but also interview her at the same time.
Yeah.
So I thought that was good. And then for the versions that we have now, I don't know. I was either like I like the holiday ones, the Thanksgiving, Christmas, but also the Jay Jordan one. I thought we had our like form of what we are for 3.0 so good that like Jay was able to like just jump right into it. You know what I mean? Like it was so easy and clear for him to see what the show was that I thought he was like dynamite when he got on with us. So those are all ones that I like. Favorite, I don't know. Even the glasses one I thought was good. Favorite, I don't know. I'm gonna go with Jay Jordan.
Jay Jordan. I'm glad that you picked that one. That was definitely.
And I was talking about cruising.
Okay.
And the lady cruising. Crazy. When we're talking about lady cruising, I thought it was funny.
Lady cruising is crazy. That absolutely was one of my favorite episodes of the year as well. So if you weren't able to check out our episode with Jay Jordan, the episode title and number is episode 37, Public Outrage, Digital Racism, Maggers, and Cruising. And here's a clip from that episode.
I am a 132nd white.
What the is a 132nd white?
My great-great-granddad, he was a.
We are also joined by a very special guest.
When I found out I was a white man, I said, oh my God.
Yo.
It's been so hard for us since Charlie died.
Who may be more problematic than me.
They were so quick to try to blame trans people.
Right,
the shooter is trans. The bullets
is dating
trans.
a trans.
They went, no, actually, he took public transportation.
Y'all, we have Jay Jordan, who is a New York-based comedian.
We need Eric Adams in New York, but not necessarily as the mayor. I don't want to stop a black man from having a job. We need him to be the mascot. The mascot of the city. Eric Adams at a halal cart. And is that Eric Adams? He'd be like, you know it, baby. Selectively ignorant is how I describe my comedy sometimes.
I love that.
Since we telling the truth on here.
Uh-oh.
So if someone told me that Zoran touched the small of their back, I'd be like, so? He's affectionate. It's the culture. You don't understand. If Cuomo touched the small of your back. Hello, police. This Italian man me. Someone pull up Chris Cuomo's arms for Mandii.
Wait, don't have me left over. Oh, he got the chest I like. Never been with a white man.
Yeah.
I would flirt back.
I don't think flirting is against the law at work. Right. You got to establish the coochie timeline. I got this job on my own merit, and now I'm going to disclose to you, I'm about to.
Is it a thank you?
You're not going to get any preferable treatment, and you're not going to get any negative treatment. What you're going to get is this.
Nicki Minaj, she was like, Gag City is in the White House. Praise it, baby. Nobody loves you.
No one is pulling you and saying,
get off of my Twitter, bruh.
Check on your cousin's testicles.
Yeah. Now, yo, shut. All right. Now, a king. First off, Jayson decided to just list our whole goddamn discussion.
I know. And now I had to restructure mine.
Whoa,
I didn't know.
like,
yeah.
Jayson said, actually, I'm going to give you guys like 12.
The whole run.
I was listening last night. I do homework. I research and report.
The whole discography.
Yeah. I have my notes. You see, I wrote it down.
Your favorite moments of the year, and of course, any honorable mentions?
Yeah, I think it was episode 20, Purple Party. Can you be a pro-black Republican?
A lot of fireworks.
That one was we definitely touched the boundaries of emotions of people who, when you see these things pop up on your feed and you're like, okay, I'm gonna listen to the episode, and then you just get all of this, you're like, whoa. Ray Daniels and
Carla.
I mean, wow, powerful. But these conversations are necessary to get you. I think we should definitely do
we need a part two of that.
After the midterms. After the midterms is coming up.
We gotta do a part 2.
2026.
By the way,
it's going to be heavy politics season.
We are going to play a clip of that. Get off my girl in the Apple reviews, okay? Get off my girl's back. It's crazy because Carla is someone who's so passionate, has such different thoughts, views, and opinions than myself, but I really enjoy potting with her. And so here is a clip. I'm going to go ahead and do a trigger warning because this one got loud and spicy. Here is a clip from a king's favorite pick of the year. This is from episode 20 featuring Carla Wilmaris and Ray Daniels. Purple Party, can you be pro-Black Republican? Check it out. I will allow Carla to express why she thought this was appropriate to place on public platforms and why me, as someone who doesn't hold these same views, felt it was wrong for her to express this. Right. It sucks because my shit is... Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay, here we go. The summary is Carla took to Instagram to express her frustration with her neighbors who play loud music at all hours of the day and night. Okay. She believes that the ordinance of the music should be stopped at reasonable hours for her to sleep. She chose
we grew up.
We
using ordinances. Blocks of ordinances.
She chose to take it to the internet to express these frustrations. However, while also saying these undocumented motherfuckers brought up that they were undocumented, possibly illegal immigrants that were doing this.
I know they're illegal.
Okay. So this was what she chose to bring to the internet.
Let me see. Because it shouldn't be a big deal. I really don't care, but now I do. So last night I didn't sleep well. It's been months now where multiple times a week they're just blasting music, drinking. They have multiple people outside, folks being dropped off. And I'm like, I get it. Right now is a very tough time and they're all trying to work and I'm sure they go to work, but when they get back to their house, it's like fighting and drinking. All you hear is cans and bottles being thrown into the garbage can. Once they get super drunk, they start fighting and the music goes on. So I told the landlords this, and my problem is that I don't want to call the police or call someone because y'all are finna get arrested and deported. We are under Trump at this point in time. This has been going on before Trump, but now it's like, it's not going to be good for you if I call the police. And I'm terrified to call them because I don't know what's going to happen to them. But at the same time, my family comes first.
Here was my problem with it and why I said it was very Republican of her. Okay. Carla is a public person. Carla is a problem with what I said? Hold on. Well, and it started by calling them undocumented. First off, the language that we've gotten under the Trump administration is to immediately refer to somebody as undocumented. That removes them as humans and makes them the illegal aliens that Trump is wanting us to see people as. That is my problem. It wasn't my neighbors this. It wasn't humanizing them. It was these undocumented aliens, essentially, right? Then cool, she gets into the, I don't want to call the police. I don't want to do this. However, being a very public person, addressing that these people are right next door, there's public records, and this is the internet. So you already referencing them as being undocumented, you being a homeowner, you being a public person and saying this, whether you want to call the police or not, we've seen ICE run into college dorm rooms and all of these things for people sharing their thoughts and views online who may or may not have the correct documents to stay here. So when I left the comment in saying this was very Republican of you, whether you sat here and sugarcoated it and said, I don't want to call the police, by publicly addressing them as undocumented on a public platform, put all of the people in that home in jeopardy of being deported. Mind you, then when I bring it up to her today, because this was a couple weeks ago, please share what your response was.
I forgot.
Oh, well, I'll tell you.
I definitely, go ahead, man.
I didn't forget. She said, oh, fuck yeah, I'll ice my goddamn self to get these motherfuckers out of here. So the idea and what I'm talking about is the rhetoric of the views that is essentially spewing into our community is the fact that we can say that we don't agree with Trump, we don't like Trump, we don't support Trump. However, for a friend of mine to kind of spew the rhetoric that if you hear something enough, it starts seeping into you. That is what I believe Trump is doing to the entire country and our views, which is why I was like, this was very irresponsible and very Republican of you to post online.
I think it's very irresponsible of them.
Could I want to jump in?
Yes.
I 100% agree with you.
With Carla, of course you do.
But here's why. Because we have this thing in this world where it's like, we feel like because we're doing it, you should do it too. Because I'm over here doing it. Why are you tripping? So it's like, it's almost like anytime you're anti-crowd, you're Republican. Anytime you're individual, you're Republican. Anytime you say, I don't like that, you're Republican. When it's like, you're a Democrat, we agree with all this shit. All this shit. If you want to identify as a basketball, you are a basketball man. And it's like, bro, like, at what happens that one day when somebody walks in the room and says, I identify as a pedophile? What the fuck we gonna do then? What is I'm being honest. If we're saying, if you
A
can
Democrat will, a man can walk in here and say, I identify as a pedophile, but I don't act on it. It's just an attraction that I have for children, but I don't act on it because I do so well. And Democrats will be like,
let's help him.
Let's help him out.
Here, let's
have some
let's give him some money. Let's put him around kids.
Let's take this away from political parties real quick, right? In what we're saying, you're mad that the identity. Hold on, one moment. You're mad that
I didn't tell you why I agree with it though.
That also the label of Republican, just because she said, hold on, doesn't mean.
Okay.
My question is though, if a white person
said
it, no.
Okay.
If a white person, because I'm talking about specifically the title and labeling of her referring to them as undocumented, and its association to Trump and rhetoric that I believe is harmful.
That's the N-word.
What is the difference to a white person saying these niggas and you not identifying that person as a racist?
I think I would love to be both of y'all friend. I'm already her friend because I can police this shit perfectly. Because Mandii is crazy. She's not wrong because Mandii doesn't realize that she really is the warrior. She thinks we're the crazy one. She's really the crazy one. So let's be clear.
Sure.
Number one, let's be clear. If I'm being kept up to 4 a.m, I'm not gonna say these wonderful individuals across the street. I'm gonna call them bitches. I'm pissed now.
Like she be calling everybody else bitches and
mad.
shit.
Like it's same. By the way, it's the same concept what happened on my show where someone says something and you was pissed off.
First off, if you call somebody a bitch, nothing's gonna happen. If you call someone undocumented, they're going to be deported. There is a difference.
I need to stop this because can we actually also add in here? I've been to their house multiple times and asked them to stop the shit. I have called their landlords multiple times. I keep going over to tell them to turn down the music. There's buses being dropped off with 10 to 12 niggas undocumented.
You can't call them niggas. They're not. First off, you're Puerto Rican. I already don't like when you say the N-word.
You are Caucasian.
Okay, whatever.
You're white?
But
yes, you're white.
We're not gonna do this.
She got a white mom.
We're not doing this.
You're black.
Yo, where the fuck are
You're
you?
Latino, right? That's another thing. But
I
Latina says undocumented. It's like a black person saying nigga. I'm like, if I said it'd be a little racist, but you said it's like.
But the undocumented part is just the reality of it because I'm trying to go to you and tell you, hey, I don't give a fuck that you're undocumented. I know plenty of people that are undocumented. That is what it is.
You want them to act undocumented.
Here.
Act undocumented. Act undocumented.
All right.
Shout out to my man Ray. Oof, that was
Shout out to Ray Daniels. I love him real bad. So I have some honorable mentions to get into. And, a lot of it's because I really love comedy. Of course, Jay Jordan was one of my favorite episodes, but it wouldn't be right without me leaning into as well. Can fat people fat shame with Meryl, Lizbel, and Ray?
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Podcast. I also can't go without also mentioning, now they're not comedians, but I absolutely loved Can We Enjoy Sports Without Racism with Kaz and Kevin, and someone who also doesn't identify as a comedian, however, has the best dry humor in podcasting. I know you guys tried to cancel him. He is uncancelable. That's right. I'm talking about the Ginger Rory, who did Can You Separate Art from the Artist? Now, these were all early on renditions of the podcast that took place at the top of the year. And, y'all are probably going to be like, well, you're choosing this episode because it went viral. But no, I'm choosing this episode because I judged a book by its cover. This was a guest that A. King booked for the show and a guest who did not do very well at all on my other podcast, Decisions. My pick for the year, and maybe this is just from a personal lens, is absolutely episode 34, Crimes versus Morality, Turkey Leg Hideout, and Hood Tours, featuring Glasses Malone. Now, there were so many good moments from this episode.
There was a lot of good moments. Outside of the Drake one, there was still a lot of good moments.
And if you guys want to hear the Drake sentiment, please feel free to head on over and subscribe to our Instagram page at Selective Ignorance Pod. He is the first pinned tweet. However, I really liked our last conversation that didn't even make a clip. And it was our discussion around the ignorance of touring hoods. Check it out here. Jay, go ahead and give it to us this week.
All right, so this is about somebody taking pictures for his sister-in-law on a trip abroad, and they had an issue about where he went. So
I
he
want to ask
says
him.
here, I spent a couple months in India early this year with my engineering firm. Before I left, my sister-in-law, who's from India, asked me to take plenty of pictures during the trip. She said she wanted to see the places I visited and was excited for me to experience her home country and see how things may have changed since she was there when she grew up. But she did not specify what pictures she wanted. And so it says here, I had free time outside of work on weekend and holidays. I used that time to explore. I did visit some of the more popular landmarks with my coworkers, but to be honest, I didn't find them to be that impressive compared to other places. So I only took a few photos. What I found more interesting was seeing how people actually lived in different parts of the country. I like observing housing and infrastructure as an engineer and sanitation, even in poorer areas. I've done the same thing when I visited Egypt and Somalia. It also helps me to appreciate what I have. So most of my pictures ended up being of slums, rivers full of trash, people washing clothes or bathing in polluted water, and just the daily life of people in less fortunate areas. When I got back, my sister-in-law was eager to see the photos. I handed her my phone, and after scrolling for a bit, she got upset and she asked why I only took pictures of, quote, filth. And said I only made her country look terrible. I told her that was not my intention. I just find those things fascinating. She got really angry and said I must be insane or obsessed with poverty. My wife thinks she overreacted, but also understands why she was upset. I genuinely did not mean any disrespect, and I do the same kind of photography everywhere I go.
Now, I want to sum this up into the question being, are tours through the hood impoverished-stricken communities selectively ignorant? Do you think that that is something that should be shamed or looked down upon, or do you think it's enriching? And I ask this because when I traveled abroad, I lived in Singapore for a couple of years, and so what I realized on a lot of the tours, they took you through the hoods. The last time I chose to do that, it's something I'm no longer interested in because I think it's fucking crazy, and I think actually America is just the hood. Like, it would be like bringing people to every Martin Luther King Boulevard in every city, right? The last time I did it, where I actually felt wrong, was in Soweto. So I went to Johannesburg, and I went on, it's literally a tour of the township of Soweto. And it's literally night and day from the city. Johannesburg was beautiful. The buildings, the infrastructure, everything. And we're literally going into this like village where it was really sad. And then what probably ruined it for me too is actually going to the Apartheid Museum and seeing the history as to why this area was like this. And so that was the last time I went. But I did want to ask you, as someone, you know, who would want to be the mayor of Compton, and, you know, of course, that's a under, you know, not developed, but underprivileged community. What are your thoughts on tours and people touring hoods? And is there a good thing to it, or do you absolutely feel like that's ignorant? You shouldn't do it.
I think it's a great thing. I think
You
we
think
need
touring
more
hoods are
tours.
great things?
Yeah.
Okay, talk to me.
Well, I think we have all the characters that represent an idea.
Okay.
I think that's another business that hip hop should be into. I think the
Explain
trap
that.
museum. I think the trap museum represents that.
Explain.
It's like you get the culture in a digestible way. So I like whoever that photographer is, because
Okay.
it's like if he takes a picture of every landmark, all those pictures already exist. Like everybody hides kind of us.
Okay.
Like the people that grow up poor, they hide the flavor, like they don't want to be judged by it. But I think it's something special about people seeing, like, you know, the culture that makes the town lively.
I think taking photos and showing that is different to me than touring it, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Like for me, I mean, and if Antoinette was here, she would just talk about capitalism, right? But the idea that the hood is like something to be amused by or entertained with, which when you think of booking a tour, you're looking for excitement. You're looking for, you know, different type of things. I don't know if people being in that type of environment, or being poor, or being in a home where they're trying to figure out how to feed their family, deserves to have onlookers look at it as entertainment either.
I'm not mad at that either. I don't disagree.
You know what I mean?
can
Especially if they
understand
come from a
both ways.
privileged place to go and view people who are less fortunate as a means of entertainment for a day, to me is like, and again, I was one of those. I wanted to see all the things, and a part of me was just like, this is so terrible. Like, imagine, I'm thinking of myself growing up. I grew up on Section 8. I grew up in not great neighborhoods. I grew up in neighborhoods that, if you grew up in a better neighborhood, you knew my neighborhood wasn't good. The idea that people would drive through to see how we lived, like, didn't sit well with me.
Well, so
unless you're doing it from a space of wanting to make a difference.
But that's the point. So it's like, I think people marvel at culture.
Okay.
So like, remember, the people he's describing are people just living their lives, but he's saying how fundamentally basic it is. So I do think it's on the tourists themselves. Where is their mind at? Because some people can see it and think they can make a change, and some people can see it and be like, them niggas doing bad. You just don't know.
To me, to identify socioeconomic struggles as culture, I don't like either. That's the thing, right? So if he's in India, they're Indians, right? So you're not drawing the different divide is like what we have in the U.S. We know the socioeconomic oppression of African Americans because of our history as to why we're probably more in those communities than others, right? But if you're in another country, everyone is normally the same ethnicity. You don't have the divides like we have here. And so for me, it's not culture to go through hoods or, and that's in quotes.
But some of the activities that become of the socioeconomic challenges become
like
culture.
The taco.
Yeah.
Like fried chicken.
Yep.
So I'm with you. It is. I'm not upset at what you're saying. Like, it's like going down when you go to Crenshaw, you see the Crenshaw Wall, right? Or you go to Watts and you see the Watts Tower. The Watts Tower is smack dead in the middle of the ghetto.
Do you feel any way about that being a part of tourist stops in LA? Like when they go through Compton, when they go through.
I feel like we should be the ones setting up the business.
Okay. I'm not mad at that.
To me, like, and I feel like that's what's wrong where hip hop, like, we should make sure that we are at the most profitable space of our culture.
Agreed.
Okay.
So I'm not, I do agree. Somebody could they could be on a very mischievous
and
mission.
the community is not getting any of the money from these tours.
To me, that's the problem. So that's the thing. Like, when you come to Compton, like, I was telling my friend we should build a Compton hip hop museum. And he thought I was crazy. I'm like, man, we should build that right in Compton. Like, it'll be good. Like, we can make the money fund the schools. There's 1,000 things we could do that's dope.
Right.
Because Compton is a awesome place. Watts is an awesome place. Don't get me wrong. Like, yeah, there's some poverty and people and some projects. But, man, when you see people living and how they party and how they still make the best of life, even how we put food together, a chili cheese fries with pastrami, like, it'll blow your mind, and that's the great things that come out of culture.
That sound like bubble guts.
It is incredibly fire, though.
You ever been to Toronto and they had the poutine?
That's what it's like?
That's what it sound like.
It
bubble
is
gut.
It sounds like a jail meal.
But you know what's crazy? I remember I was
fire.
I was dating this girl. She's from LA, and the first time I ever went to LA, I wanted to know. All the shit that I've heard in music. I was like, yo,
take me there. Take me there.
And then I was like, should I really be here? Yeah. I went to Sunday Fun Day. I did all the
Ain't
things.
that shit crazy?
Nigga.
How we just turn it up and you be like,
the one thing she told me, I knew about the hat shit, which I was cool with that because,
you couldn't wear colors.
I would wear branded hat. I wouldn't wear because I already knew. But I was in Compton. I saw all this shit and I got it immediately.
That shit it's empowering for us.
I went to Flint, Michigan with the water during the water crisis. I got it.
One of my good friends are from Leimert Park. So the way she teaches
now, I
me
want to
about
know
that,
the dude who took the pictures. What where were they from?
You know he was white. You know he was white.
Because
you know that. That's the problem.
His wife was mad aggressive. She was like, I don't want that shit.
So maybe the wife was of color. Sure. And he was white, and it's like,
the wife is Indian.
I don't want the colonizers out here taking photos of the hood.
Facts.
Don't do it. Alrighty, we made it to the end of 2025. We definitely hope that you enjoyed this episode. We hope that you also if you're a new listener that decided not to go back into the back catalog again, just to let you know, we evergreen a lot of these topics. So even for some of the topics where you think oh, I already heard everything that there is to hear about this specific topic. No, we break it down into kind of the outrage that we witnessed on the internet. That's a huge part of what this show, I think, was for me. Though I want to lean into current events more, my thing is more of the psychological effect on you nigglets. When I sit and get online, whether it be X or whether it be the shade room comments or whether, it's just what I see everyone is talking about in the group chats. It's like, whoa, why did this specific topic get people in such an uproar? What is making them want to dissect it? What is making them so passionately and emotionally charged by this sentiment? And so that's what I look forward to getting more into in 2026. I think this year was heavy because the Orange Cheeto got into office. So I felt like 2024 and 2025 was heavily politically leaning. And so in 2024, it was also heavily leaning into hip hop because of the Drake and Kendrick. I think Trump, Drake, and Kendrick took over all of our conversations in 2024 and 2025. So I'm curious to see what the 2026 landscape brings us, because I don't think it'll be heavy for either of those three people. So I'm curious to see. Hold on. You don't think so? Hold on.
I think we're gonna be in for a treat.
By who?
I think we definitely gonna see a lot of Kendrick this year.
You think?
I know
I
we're
thought
gonna
you would
see
have
a lot
said
of Kendrick.
Drake.
But not in the no. I'm getting there. I think we're gonna finally see Drake. I mean, he got the collab with Marvel, Iceman stuff. So I think that conversation is gonna live for a while. Look, if we go back to the case study here, Nas and Jay-Z, we're still talking about that. It's fizzled, but and they're cool now.
I mean, shit, we're still talking Pac and Biggie. Like,
word.
Listen, we talking, and everybody 50 how should I say it? Everybody versus 50.
Everybody versus 50.
Listen, I think 50 Cent is gonna stay in the news in all the opportunities he's creating in Shreveport. And I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, Louisiana, with the movie stuff, and just him being who he is. So shout out to him.
I do want y'all to know that here on Selective Ignorance, in the most problematic, ignorant fashions, this is a 50 Stand podcast. This is a Drake Stand podcast. This is a J. Cole Stand podcast.
And this is a Kendrick Stand podcast. Not Stand, but we fuck with everybody.
Okay, no, we do not. That is
we fuck with everybody.
True.
Mandy don't fuck with everybody.
I'm saying it's G Unit. We're Yayo and Banks. We just got it. We're in it.
I know we gonna let her just like.
Luckily, there's always gonna be pushback from my producers on my stance. But yeah, there's some people that I'm sure others would like to cancel. We're not canceling over here.
Nope.
I got a 50 cover story somewhere here.
See, look at it. See,
yeah.
I got find that.
50 got a.
I gotta treat my shit better. I gotta treat my shit better than hang my covers.
2026 shit.
Yeah. Listen. Anyways, before we get out of here, is there anything you want to leave the classmates with for the year? Anything? Y'all aren't coming into the new year, new me, right? Well, whoever you are now, that's who you going into.
That's
the
who
new
you
year.
is.
That's who you is.
That's who you is.
But that's just the top layer. There's always a Jay-Z bar. Yeah. No, I listen, man. I think this is a good ride for people who are paying attention. If it's for the evolution of Mandii, it's a good ride. If it's for the business of podcasting, it's a good ride. Like I think it's a good project, and people should tap in.
Same.
For sure.
Same. Well, guys, thank you so much. Hopefully, you have your Uber credits ready for the new year. Please do not get into a car in the driver's seat if you've been drinking. I just always like to reiterate that I am super, 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 super against drinking and driving. So you will always hear me advocate for safe driving. Get you a designated driver or get you your ass on Uber, Lyft, Her. There's a whole bunch of options for you. Do not get behind that wheel, and make sure you embrace your family this holiday season. We saw with the pandemic, you never know when this will be the last time you see somebody. So make sure you cherish every moment. Make sure you subscribe, you like, you leave 5 stars. Selective Ignorance is here to stay, baby. And I'm excited to grow in front of the camera and on this microphone with each and every one of you. I do want to end this off. Jayson, I don't know if you have our ending somewhere. I got to remember it, but it's Selective Ignorance. Hold on. Where controversy thrives.
Oh, man, let me get
you. And conversations matter. Let's get it.
Matter and...
Pull it up. God damn it.
Let's see.
I know
that's one through iterations too.
Yeah, we have an ending now.
Some of the best MCs, they forget their lyrics on stage.
Curiosity lives, controversy thrives, and conversations matter.
There
See
we go. There we go. This has been the last episode of 2025 of Selective Ignorance. See you next year. Bye.